If it hadn't been for a disruptive hamster and 3 nights of insomnia, Emma might not have found herself crouched in her understairs cupboard that night. She might not have heard the fear-pinched voice from overhead. What had possessed her to buy the hamster in the first place? Rodents were for 8-year-olds who begged their parents for a pet, not broke, blue-haired women in their 30s. Had she really thought this ice-white creature with ink-spot eyes would offer comfort? During the day, he submerged himself inside a nest of shredded paper, but when Emma went to bed, he burst into life, rumbling on his wheel, flooding her small flat with relentless noise. It felt like the soundtrack to her thoughts, trundling around and around. Last night, she'd shifted the cage into the living room, but back in bed she'd still been haunted by the cycling. She'd moved it into the kitchen, still audible. So Gilbert's new home was this gloomy cupboard under the stairs, among dog-eared design books and unsold vintage hats. It was 6 p.m. now, almost breakfast time for her nocturnal tyrant. Emma's flat had begun the various clicks and hums it always made as it warmed up and settled in for the night. It felt cold for mid-March, winter still clinging on, so she'd drawn her curtains and pulled on her pyjamas extra early, even by her recent standards. She was tipping sunflower seeds into Gilbert's bowl when a voice made her freeze. It was so clear and close that it seemed to be in the cupboard with her, as if Gilbert was acting as ventriloquist. "Where are you?" it said. Emma straightened where she knelt, bumping the sloped ceiling. She knew the well-spoken voice, knew it better, actually, than she knew its owner. It was her upstairs neighbour, Steph Harlow. She and her family owned the top 2 floors of the converted Georgian house, while Emma rented the little ground floor space, squished in next to their shared hallway. There was a basement flat underneath, too, owned by a married couple, Chris and Vicky, but it had a separate entrance, and Emma didn't hear or see much of them. She was often acutely aware of the buzz of life from above, though. The Harlows' footsteps, and the flush of their toilet, the vibrant pitch of raised voices in the morning. "Freya, time to go, love. Mum, where have you tidied literally all of my belongings to?" And now Steph's voice felt right on top of her, as if there was no partition between them. Maybe there was something about the way sound parachuted down the staircase between their 2 flats into this cubbyhole. "Why's your phone off?" Steph said. "I'm getting worried, Freya. Call me as soon as you get this." Emma's heart kicked in sympathy, recognizing the gut twist of not being able to contact someone. She pictured Steph with her phone clamped to her ear, head dipped so her highlighted hair fell across her face, other hand absent-mindedly smoothing her dove-grey suit. For that was how Emma would sometimes come across her in the hallway of their building, absorbed in checking her post or reading a text. Steph would spring out of her trance as soon as she noticed she wasn't alone, finding a warm smile and a compliment for Emma's latest combination of experimental hair/handmade earrings/pimped-up second-hand shoes. Something like, "I could never pull that off." Emma would babble in response, "You don't need to. You've got the classic elegance thing down to a T." And it was enviably true. Steph didn't need a fanfare of accessories to make a statement. Her height, cheekbones, and general aura did the job without fuss. But Steph would dismiss any attempt to compliment her in return, then whisk off to work or back up to her family before the conversation could progress. Emma would be left with the drift of her perfume in the empty hall, and a lingering curiosity about the woman she'd shared a front door with for nearly 10 months. She didn't know what Steph did for a living, but assumed she was successful. Didn't know how old she was, but guessed at early 40s, and wondered whether 40 was the point at which you stopped doing ridiculous things, like buying antisocial hamsters or generally making a mess of your life.